Good morning, everybody. I know you're a bunch of addicts in here. I know you were waiting for me. I'm sorry I am a few minutes late. Listen, I'm trying to figure out how to get all of the race week videos and pictures and things like that off of my phone onto my computer. And unfortunately, it will not save it correctly. I've absolutely wore this phone out. I don't have time to go get a new one before drag week, so I've got to make it work. So, anyways, I was working around that. So let's get started. That is our first part of the daily dose of drag and drive at number 68 is survive. A drag and drive is to remove or make space on your phone now before you are in the event trying to take pictures and it tells you you can't take any more video, you can't take any more photos or anything like that. So either delete stuff or move it to a hard drive, move it to your computer, whatever you got to do, get that stuff off of your phone right now, because I'm telling you, Drag Week is going to be insane. We're going to have a crazy fun time. So got some folks in here this morning already. Good morning, everybody. Let's get to it. Another quick one today because I'm working on lots and lots and lots of data for our Drag and Drive news tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Okay. The number one thing I'm going to tell you is to hydrate now. Pre-hydrate, hydrate. Drink an extra bottle of water. Drink water. There's a lot of people out there that don't drink water at all. So add a bottle of water. Pedialyte is your best rehydration or prehydration. It is better than Gatorade because it doesn't have all of the sugars in it. So I always suggest Pedialyte just because, one, I mean, it's not a great taste, but Pedialyte sells these little 8-ounce bottles, easy to chug. They also have some packets. So we will have packets at the RV. I'll be walking around with some in my pocket. So if you have a 16-ounce bottle of water, I may throw you a packet. Throw the packet in there and drink it, guys. You've got to stay hydrated because somebody and I were having this conversation the other day. Day 3 is the hardest on your body, especially for you guys that have been wrenching 20 hours a day, like Jason Tabscott. I don't know if you guys have been following him on Facebook and Instagram. He's literally, I think, driven about 300 or 400 miles just to get this motor back together. And we go racing in 2 days. So he's really worked his butt off. That guy is going to be one of the guys that will have limited brain capacity by day 3 because your adrenaline is so high right now. We're running on such anxiety and just excitement that once you get, I don't know, day 3 is the hardest by far. Day 4 is the hardest on the car. Day 3 is the hardest on the body. So prehydrate. Make sure you have enough fluids. I'm actually going to get an IV drip today at noon so I can be as hydrated as possible going into the week. So clear space from your phone. We talked about that. You can also offload apps so you don't delete them. So if there is some apps you don't use very often or they're taking up a ton of space, just offload them. Get this space ready because, guys, I'm telling you, we are going to break records this week. There are going to be records broken. So what I worked on a little bit yesterday, sorry, we're going to switch gears really fast there, but I worked on Street Machine Eliminator and Daily Driver class stats yesterday. Obviously the largest class in any drag week competition, as the years go by. I will actually say it has more racers maybe than anything else combined. I'm going to find out that stat too. That's one I'm going to look up. But there are more than 1,400 racers now, not individual racers, but 1,400 racers have participated in this class over the years. 2018 was the highest car count, 136 cars, and 2017 was close to 132 cars in a single class. Now, guys, wrap your mind around that. That is the folks that get all the attention are generally interesting cars, but then the really fast stuff. Well, the really fast stuff accounts for about 2% of the entire class. So we're going to spend a lot of time in the SME pits. We're going to talk to a lot of those racers. We're going to really get some stories because obviously everybody has a cool story about their car. Everybody has a cool story while they're at Drag Week. But this SME stuff is insane. Now, obviously, before it was called Street Machine Eliminator, It was called Daily Driver. I was actually talking to Keith Turk yesterday to get some historical stuff because I wanted to make sure that Daily Driver had always been a 10.0 class. And of course, he said yes, but he also invited me to spend some time with him in the lanes in tech Sunday morning, going over some of that stuff with everybody. So I'm excited to do that. I haven't spent much time with him. We've talked on the phone for probably an hour and a half since sick week, and which, if anybody's ever talked to Keith for very long, that's 2 or 3 phone calls. So, and the plan is after drag week, we're going to have him on. We're going to tell some fun drag week stories. So be ready for that. That'll be something that's at least a couple, maybe 3 or 4 hours of conversation there. So I'm excited to spend some time with him, get to know him a little better. Let's get down into the SME stuff. The top 3 finishers of all time. Now, this is all 1,400 racers combined into the top 3 is Jared Ball with a 10.0336, Bill Spangler with a 10.0349, and JACKI STEINKE with a 10.0410. Now, if you hear that right, 10.03, I know exactly what you competitive guys are thinking. There's room for me to take number 1. Well, I'll tell you, it's going to be hard. Bill is actually one of only 2 racers to ever run a perfect ET in the class. That's right. I'm going to figure out how many passes were actually made in SME, and I'm going to then figure out how many. I'm going to figure out how many passes were made in SME, and that'll tell you what it takes to actually be super competitive in that class. I mean, Bill and what's his name? Ryan Frizzell are the only 2 guys that have ever made a perfect 10.000 pass in SME. So Bill's pass came on day 3 of 2021 drag week. He's got the purpose-built Ford Fairmont they call the FUB, Ford Under Beautification, or if you're in other circles, you know what it really stands for. It's an NA big block Ford, super cool car. Him and Joe are awesome. They are just really nice guys, and we hung out quite a bit at Midwest Drags, and they actually had me some breakfast one morning. I appreciate that about them. So I hope they are close to some point in drag week here, and we can get to hang out. Ryan Frizzell made his pass in 2019 on day 2 in his 2000 Trans Am. There are 19 racers. This is always an interesting fact to me. That there are 19 racers that never made or never turned in a single pass in the SME class and never came back. One and done. I'm out of here. I hate you guys. Don't ever talk to me again. One of them goes back as early as 2018. There's a lot of 2015s, a lot of 2016s in there. So if you are watching this and you are one of the racers that has never made a pass and has never come back, tell us why. Let me know why you never came back. And I'm not talking about just in SME. I'm talking about they never came back at all. Now, I don't have if they did other events yet. I haven't built that master list out yet because we've been so busy with getting ready for drag week stuff. But it'll be interesting to see how many people, 1, have never made a pass and never come back. But then 2, maybe they made 1 week and never came back, So that's an interesting stat to me. And then Steve Eden is Mr. SME with every one of his 14 Hot Rod Drag Week entries being in the SME class. Now, if you remember, he's one of the only guys to have finished every Hot Rod Drag Week that he has entered, and doing that 14 times is pretty impressive. That's absolutely crazy. So we'll find him at this Hot Rod Drag Week for sure. Let's jump into the comments, see if we got anybody making questions here or making statements. We got Eric Leatherman here says, "Morning, Mike. Wish I was able to join everyone on this year's drag week." Man, me too, because this is the first year I'm going, so I'm pretty excited about that. So, and then we got 815 LSX Swaps. He actually drove his twin turbo LS Fox Body Mustang yesterday for the first time on a real drive. Looks like he took it to a cruise night. I wish I had that picture up here. I'm excited for him because now that he's got a few miles on it, all of the beatings I've been giving him about coming to a drag and drive event hopefully will come to fruition, and he'll bring that car out. It's a twin turbo LS. I think it's a 5.3 with a turbo 400. I'm sure he'll tell us what it is in the comments, but I'm going to hang out with him at Byron. So make sure you are following him. Again, I'll put the channel up here, 815 LSX Swaps, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you're following those guys. Great stuff, great content, tons of learning stuff there. Whew, I feel like I'm tongue-tied this morning. And then let's jump into the last little bit here. We will have a few items of drag and drive addiction in the RV with us, but space is obviously limited. We're not going to fill it with merch, and we're not vendors at the event, so we're not going to have a whole thing set up or anything like that. We are there to get content. But if you are a fan and you want to own a piece of the Drag and Drive Addiction merch and show your support for what we're doing, you can find us. I will say the number one way to get what you want and get it hand delivered in St. Louis or any of the tracks is to purchase it now. Make a note in the comments of your purchase. Hey, I'll pick this up at whatever track. Okay, that's probably the easiest way. We'll put your name on a bag, and that way we will make sure 100% that we have your stuff. We have hoodies, we have shirts, we have hats, we have super awesome 10 license plates, and obviously decals and things like that. I will be running around with the Race Car Friends stickers. I have about 30 of those left. So we'll be doing obviously Race Car Friends videos throughout the week and all that kind of stuff. Hot Rod Drag Week Discord group. If you are on Discord, jump into Hot Rod Drag Week 2022. Hot Rod is one word in that setup. I'm sure that probably has something to do with there's other Hot Rod Drag Week Discord groups as well. So it seems to be pretty active. I think a lot of people are moving towards Discord. It's a mix of Facebook and forums, which is pretty neat. I've never really been on it. Saw this was a part of it and ran with it. So you can jump in and go live on there and actually have a conversation between a bunch of racers or between a bunch of other Discord members. So I may do that on my drive up. It'll just be dependent upon what I'm actually trying to get handled. If I'm trying to figure out stats, if I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do for the daily dose of drag and drive that we'll go live with every morning with updates and things like that. All right. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be live for the drag and drive news. I didn't do a big episode this week. I have been absolutely so busy at home, getting the yard ready, getting the house ready, all that kind of stuff to be gone again, which if you guys remember, I was on race week. I've been home about 10 days, and then now I'm going to drag week. This is the closest I've ever traveled, and I can't express my gratitude to everybody that has supported the last few weeks, guys. It's been insane. The growth is off the charts. We haven't seen this kind of growth in a while on YouTube or anything like that. So I'm really excited about what is coming up. We're going to meet a ton of cool people. But 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning, I'll have a ton of stats. You may get a little bored there for a minute of it, but I am reaching out to a few people today to see if we can get some guest spots on there as well and kind of do it like the West Buck show where somebody jumps on for 5 or 10 minutes and then is out. Kind of give us a rundown of the car maybe they're bringing to drag week. So I know Steven Mask is on his way up in his turbo LS stick shift 94 Buick Roadmaster. Love that dude. Can't wait to hang out with him. If he's on the road, we may have to talk to him just because he is hilarious. And he's actually driving that car from Florida up to St. Louis to race in drag week this week. I think he's driven it in the past or maybe has trailered it most of the way in the past, but this one, it's going to be a good one. I know he's shooting for a 10-second pass this year. He's been as fast as I think of 1160, 1170, something like that. There's a full conversation with him on a live stream with him and Stephen Boring and I think David Williams on our page a few months, 5 or 6 months ago. Just after Sick Week, we jumped on all together and had a great time. Last little bit. Oh, here we go. 815 says it is a 6.0 with twin GT45s and a Turbo 350 trans. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. We will see you in the morning for the Drag and Drive news at 9 a.m. Eastern.